Welcome to the Realizations Podcast. I'm Andrea Gordon, your host, and I'm excited to explore the world of real estate with you. In a world where perceptions often overshadow reality, Realizations seeks to redefine what it means to be a realtor. Join me as we peel back the layers of the industry, uncovering inspiring stories and celebrating the good in real estate. Whether you're a homeowner, a fellow realtor, or simply curious, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Realizations, where perceptions meet reality. Let's dive right in. Welcome, everybody, to Realizations. I'm your host, Andrea Gordon. And today I'm here with Jorge Vazquez from Graystone Investment. He is an amazing investment guru who helped his clients to develop portfolios of investment properties, a whole other realm of real estate that we don't talk about that much, but it's something very interesting. Welcome, Jorge. Thank you for the show.
Thank you for having me, Andrea.
Of course. And you are originally from Puerto Rico.
Yes.
You've quite the tale to tell. You've been, just like any realtor who's been through the different economic downturns, you yourself have a story to tell, which I'm going to let you tell us about how you got to where you are today. But I have one other question for you. Where are you right now?
I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay.
The champions, the Rays, the Buccaneers, the Lightning.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today. You were telling me a really interesting story before we started about how you failed and how you came back through from that, which I love. I love success stories that are based on resilience.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. So I started as a financial advisor many, many years ago. I had my securities license. And then all of a sudden, because it was easy money, I started making a lot of money with real estate. I married a broker back then. And a lot of the clients that I had under wealth management said to me, Jorge, we like the annuities, but how about some of the sexy real estate deals you're doing on the side? And then MySpace came. And the broker dealer, those of you that have a securities license know that you can't be talking about other type of assets unless you have the license, unless they're verified by your broker dealer. So saw me talking in social media. Back then, my Facebook wasn't even around, talking about real estate. And then the broker dealers gave me an ultimatum. They said, either you talk about stocks or you talk about real estate. And unfortunately, as much as I love helping people with 401ks, etc., I had to let go of my license, but took a lot of my clients that I had on the wealth management to do this. And then fast forwarding to 2007, I lost everything. I lost.
Yeah. The big economic downturn. I still remember I was at a house that was gorgeous. It had I'm in the Bay Area. I was at this house in Oakland on oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the street, but it had a panoramic view of absolutely everything. It was a mid-century modern house, totally private, gorgeous yard, incredible. And it was a Sunday afternoon in 2007, and it was our first open house, and no one was coming. And the weekend prior at my other open house had been just great. All of a sudden, no one was coming to this. And I called a friend who was down the street at another open house and said, hey, have you gotten anybody? And Lydia said, no, I haven't gotten anybody either. And so we were both just stymied by this. And it was almost like you turned off a faucet. It was almost as if it just stopped dead. And it reminded me in a way of what happened in the pandemic too, right? That first week when they told us we couldn't have open houses, everybody was just like panicked and everything just stopped. So I remember that well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you exactly the last day, the day that I started crying in 2007. December 31st, I think 29th or something like that, where the last, what we called creative lender said, this is the last type of loan we're going to do.
Right.
Because after that, everything was like, you have to have the income, you have to, and people,
right. Oh, yeah.
Before that, there was, as long as you had a heartbeat, sign
Oh,
and they
yeah.
approve. And you have this exotic. I was part of Wachovia Bank back
Mhm.
then as a
Oh, Lord.
financial
Yeah.
advisor.
I sold foreclosures for Wachovia Bank. I hate to tell you.
And it was the worst offender when it comes. I mean, I could tell you 1,000 stories, but let me tell you this quick one. I remember elderly lady saying, Jorge, I want my payments to be $200. And I'm like, ma'am, this is a $200,000 home. How do you, well, I want to get one of those negative arms. And I'm like, ma'am, do you understand them? I don't care about understanding them. I just care that the payment is 200. But that was, some people blame the banks about what happened. People themselves were greedy and
Oh,
wanted to, you follow me?
yeah, oh, absolutely. I can't tell you the number of times I sold a house short during that time period. And the people were like, oh my God, I've lived here for so many years. How is it that I'm not getting anything out of the situation? And I'm like, well, I'm looking at your big screen TV. I'm looking at your van. I'm looking at your BMW in the driveway. I'm looking at this really nice furniture that you have in here. I've heard about your trips to Europe. You've been using your house like it was a piggy bank. And that's what happened here. All of the money went to all those things you wanted. And I've had to say that to people. But then I've also had other situations like, unscrupulous lenders did get a hold of people. I had a lady that was, I don't know if you've ever heard of, there's a church in San Francisco called Glide that's kind of famous for taking care of homeless people. Okay, this woman's job was to take care of the homeless people there. She was making like $6 or $7 an hour. And some lender had gotten a hold of her and sold her 6 properties. Okay, she owned 6 properties that she had put nothing into, and she was just dying on the vine. She couldn't afford any of them. And she was a very simple soul. She was not a very smart person. She was not educated. Somebody had taken grotesque advantage of her. And she lost all of those properties except for one of them and didn't want to lose that one because it was the one that she was living in. And I tried to help her with it, and I really couldn't because she was so underwater. And we ended up selling that house short for her. I told her to do cash for keys, which is a program by which you can go to the bank and you can say, "Hey, rather than going through a foreclosure process, I would like to just hand you my keys." But she had enough pride in the house that she lived in herself that she wanted to sell it short rather than do that.
Oh, wow.
So I
Wow.
did. And it hurt my heart because that was somebody who had been, it was elder abuse beyond everything else. And that person, nothing ever happened to them. They didn't go to jail. They're still working in Oakland.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are those stories too, you
Oh,
know?
there's 1,000 of those, I could tell you. But you also have ones where people are like, well, you don't help me, I go to Wells Fargo, go somewhere else. I want that. I want my negative arm loan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you also had people that had the ability to get out of the situation, just deciding to walk away. And I will also tell you this, they not only walked away, but they did things like left their Rottweilers in their backyards and left their pit bulls in their backyards and left their turtles in their closets. That's how I got into animal rescue, actually, was during that time period. I saved a bunch of pit bulls that people had just left behind.
Thank you for doing
And yeah, and it's like, how can you? How dare you? You know, you have a
it.
responsibility when you have an animal.
Know
So,
how many properties I bought with the dead dog in the bathtub
oh yeah,
or one of the rooms
oh
or
yeah, yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
Beyond the fact that some people live like pigs. I don't understand that. But to
Yeah,
have a dog and be so inhumane, it's
yep,
crazy.
it is. It truly is. Well, anyway, so you hit a rock bottom in 2007. What happened to you in 2007?
What happened is like I was cocky, young, successful real estate guy, making a ton of money, calling the shots, thinking that I was invincible, and didn't hear the advice of my parents: diversify, do not over leverage. And I was like, yeah, 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 that was in your times. Now we're gonna leverage 100% and keep buying, buying, buying. And of course, I was super over leverage. I had every single property at 100%. And I was doing the famous bird strategy, but back then we didn't have a name for it. We were just doing it. But But so when the market sneezed, I was already in trouble. When the market collapsed, I was forget about it. I mean,
Right.
I was underwater on every single property. And I
Right.
remember 2007, I think it was, I don't know if it was Bank of America, one of them said, Jorge, this is the last stated type of loan, meaning no income verification loan that we can do. And that's the lifeline for investors. They can't, more than 2, 3 properties, nobody can afford with the regular salary. So that the
Right.
happened. And guess what? 2008, 45 short sales, 50 agents, didn't get one single phone call because you reminded me when you said no open houses. 45. The beginning of the short sales was a waste of time because the banks were so unrealistic of what they
Yeah,
wanted.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I went through that. I get that. Yeah, they would think that their value was still at $1 million when actually the market had told you it was at 600,000, right?
They would lower it 10K and say, okay, here it is, 990. And they thought you could do something with that.
Exactly.
Took them like until the market was flooded to then say, holy crap, yeah, this kind of 25, 30. The velocity took off, but it was too late.
Yeah, they were also, going through their own pain and woe and closing down. And I'm not going to tell you the address, but I actually know of a person whose bank sold the loan to another lender, who then sold it to another lender, who sold it to another lender, and she was going to have to do a short sale. And what ended up happening out of it is it ended up off of the books of every single lender somehow. And she has been living free and clear in that property since 2009.
Wow, good for her.
I
Yeah.
know she'll never be able to move because she can't prove title in any way, shape, or form, but who cares, right?
Unless she could prove that she'd what do you call it, the for the squatters right where you live in a property for 7 years and then you claim it.
I don't know, but I know that she hasn't paid a mortgage payment since then.
So yeah, I mean those years were crazy. And I lost everything. I lost my 22 homes, my wife, my car, my dog, my pet, my cat. I lost nobody, not even my cat wanted to hang out with me anymore. And
Oh,
to a 28-year-old, when after you have been the most successful friend of your group and you think you're all that, to admit that you were a failure was very tough,
yeah,
super
yeah.
tough. I was like 6 months just drinking. I wanted to end my life, unfortunately.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
yeah. Yeah, because I have people calling me, hey, because I became very bullish as the business was doing good. So I kept borrowing money from investors without a collateral. I
Hmm.
got to the point that I built that up to $500,000. So I had
Yeah.
these guys calling me, we're gonna take you to court. I couldn't sleep every night. And this is what happened. Here's where the turning point happened. I felt like God, and I'm not super religious by no means. I can't remember last time I went to church, but God talked to me and he said, get up. I don't know if it was my own mind saying, get up. And I reached out to one of the investors and I said, listen, will you lend me $10,000 and let's do this thing again? And I paid everybody back within a year. And those clients became my clients again in the future. I sold 100 properties that year because I had no choice. You see,
Yeah.
you see how productive you become when you have no choice.
When your back is up against the wall, you absolutely, it's like this calm settles down over you and you're like, okay, what can I realistically do and make something happen? How can I make this happen? And it's not desperation. It's just, there is no other way. The only way forward is through. So, and that's in most things, by the way. I mean, it sounds kind of hippy trippy, but the reality is that if there's a problem, the only way you really can get through it is to go through it. You can't just avoid it. You have to do it.
The mother of invention is necessity. You
Yeah,
don't know what you're capable of doing until you have a bull behind you.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
Then all of a sudden you run like like you could run the mile in a second, but you don't know.
Right.
I don't want to become super granular with the story because then we could be 3 hours here. But there was a lot of stuff that happened where it was just one crazy story after the other. Just
Mhm.
to tell you, how I landed this client that helped me pay everybody back. And I think we can move on from that. He was a New Yorker. And I said to him, after I was making 100 phone calls a day, no matter
Yeah.
what, I was going to find
Yeah.
an investor. And I found this investor, let's call him Robert. And I said to Robert, hey, give me an opportunity. And he said, oh, I like all of your experience, but I said that I see that on your Better Business Bureau, you shut down your company, and I see a lot of people complaining about you, that you owe money. No thanks. And I swear to God, Andrea, crying. And I said to him, give me an opportunity, please. And the guy said to me, jokingly, I'm sure, because he's like 70, he said, Jorge, I'm going to give you one chance. But if not, I'm going to break your legs. He's and I started rehabbing the first property. He's like, I could buy 100 properties from you. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my man. Guess what? The first property that I start rehabbing, of course, the sewer line breaks. And of course, wasn't part of the budget. And of course, I had to jump and dig it myself and do all of that and break my back. But we finally got it done. And they bought 100 properties from me. And I didn't even have the real estate license yet. I was just a wholesaler. When my lawyer said, because somebody reported me to the DVPR or something, and of course I have my assignments and everything else and documents, so I didn't get in trouble. But that's when I got my license as an agent. I said, my lawyer said, how hard could it be? And it wasn't hard at all. I took the course over the weekend and passed. That's the story of that.
That's a really good story. And now, like all those lessons that you've learned, you've taken all of them to get to where you are today. So explain to me a little bit about your business and how it works and who's involved, what sort of staff you have, how you make what you do work for you.
Okay. So yeah, after that happened to me, I was like, I will never live beyond my means. I will never gonna buy nothing.
Right?
As a matter of fact, I wrote an article at the Active Brain, is one of the real estate websites, and it got
Yeah.
featured last week because I said I still have drive the same car since 2010, same shoes, couple of jeans. I was like, I never want to put myself in that situation of owing money. And now I have zero debt. I own 40 properties, but I don't owe anything. I do have mortgages, but I don't have car payments. I don't have anything like that. So what we do at Graystone is I said, how can I create not a lifestyle business? I don't want to create a cyclical business, or I want to create a recession-proof business. I don't care if I go super slow because I'm diversified, but I wanted to go really slow. So we set up Graystone, which is, we have the team that does acquisitions, finds all of my connections that I put together for the past 25 years, sellers, wholesalers, state attorneys, will represent the client and find an off-market deal. Then after that, because we own a property management company, we'll vet the deal, vet the repairs from the guys that have been doing it for a long time, good guys, good roofers, good plumbers, etc.
Right.
Performance guarantee. And then after that, we manage the property, and everything is performance guarantee. We make sure that we're with you from A to Z. So if you you have wholesalers out there that will go, yeah, this is gonna cash flow at 20 cap, but they're not in front of you
Right.
through the struggles. So that's what we do from A to Z. We're also a lender, private lender. So my goal is to do the same thing I did for me to new investors, like owning 40 properties, 50 properties, and because of my financial advisor background, my first question to the client is like, don't tell me you want to buy a property. Tell me what the business plan is. Tell me what is the last property you're going to buy, the last domino, to know the first domino. You need to know the first, the last, by when? By the time I'm 40, 50, 60, 70. Reverse engineer to the first domino that you need to buy. And then implement different strategies, whether it's house hacking, the bird, whatever the case might be, based on the person's liquidity.
What is house hacking? Tell me.
All right, so house hacking is exactly how I built my portfolio. House hacking means that you're gonna live in your own rental. You're gonna hack your rental by living in your own rental. So you're gonna buy a property. Ideally, you could buy finance conventionally up to fourplex. At least in Florida. I don't know in
Yeah, it's fine here too. Yeah.
okay. And then you live in one, it might be distressed, even better, because then you could apply forced equity. So first of all, you buy a distressed asset off market. Hopefully you find 30, 40% equity. And then you also do your own repairs, which pushes another 20, 30% equity based on forced equity, because you put in, you know exactly what you're putting into the deal. I like distressed property better than turnkey, because turnkey, you could put stuff under the rug, so to speak, and then you're not intimate with the property. And then it looks like you have a turnkey property, but in reality, everything starts breaking up in year 2 or 3. When it comes to you fixing it yourself, then you're more intimate, you know, okay, well, because,
Right.
okay. And then, so you plug more equity because of the forced equity. And then after that, you're living in it. You don't have a mortgage payment, so you're saving that because you're living in your own rental. And then about a little, you're renting the other properties. The other,
Right.
if it's a house, you barricading yourself in a room, and you're as bullish as you need to. I said, if you're very young, single, put yourself in the garage. The least attractive one and rent everything else. And then at that moment, you could even do short sale, corporate rentals, whatever the case might be. But yeah, that's what house hacking is. You are hacking your rentals so that way you don't have to make two payments. You don't have to make your rent. And you're rehabbing it at the same time.
Got it. Okay. And you're in Florida. Is all the work that you do in Florida?
Yes, only Florida. We do from Jacksonville to Sarasota. So we cover most of Florida. I have agents in Miami. Miami is too expensive for my taste. I think most of it is the areas surrounding Central Florida, Orlando, Tampa.
Okay. And when is Florida one of those states where you get into a transaction and there has to be an attorney to actually close the deal?
Attorney needed. Nope. You only
Okay,
need.
so it's like California where the realtor does everything all the way to the end. Do you yourself do the job as a realtor, or do you farm that out to somebody else?
When it comes to what?
Paperwork, all that kind of stuff.
Myself, I have a team.
Right. So who's on your team? Who do you have?
So I'm very bad when it comes to the basic real estate because I was forced to become a broker. And when it comes to maybe like the most basic documents, I'm not the best, but I have a team around me. I'm more on the theory and let's put this deal together. Yeah, I have an assistant. I have a broker associate. I have a office manager. There's about 50 agents and 25 staff.
Wow. That's a brokerage. You've got a whole brokerage going now. Do they do their own individual deals, or is everybody working directly with you?
So the agents too. So I only hire agents that have the vision of becoming investors themselves, because to me the brokerage business is a failed business model. You're huge. But and I've tried opening the brokerage like 4 or 5 different times. At the beginning of my career, I wanted to do a kind of like a school, like all about education, grabbing new agents, and I couldn't compete with Coldwell Banker or Remax or any of those. And I felt like I was constantly educating people, and then the agents would go. And then I said, okay, let me be a discount brokerage. And then I was a discount brokerage. And then I was like, I can't compete with People Choice. That's a brand here in Florida that charges like a penny penny per transaction, a dime for the MLS fee, something like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a loss leader. You know what a loss leader in business is? Meaning like I'm this department that's gonna lose money directly, but indirectly it's gonna fuel my other.
Like me, I'm the top producer in my office, and my split is ridiculous. They don't make remotely what they could off of me, but they know that I'm going to bring in, 60 or 70 listings a year, which means that that's business for everybody. So that's a lot. I'm their loss leader. So
I tell the agents, listen, here's the irony, the paradox, okay? All of my agents, so the 50 ones, could be like kicking butt for a quarter. I'm only making like $300 per deal. And I'm like looking at if I might make 10K and then pay my staff 15, I'll go negative. But if one agent says, hey, I have this investor that wants to flip a property in with JB, I can make 100,000. So I have
Right.
agents that are like, hey, park it here free, but what are you going to do on the investor side? Or are you going to bring PM? Because I adore PM. Is one of my favorite things. Everything I do is a funnel to PM. The reason why I'm here relaxed doing interviews is because I generate $60,000, $70,000 in PM income. So
And what exactly is PM?
property management.
Okay, so the property management is a major portion of your business.
Yeah, I would say everything is a funnel to that. That's what allows us to have the unbiased approach, the consulting type of style real estate agency that we do with the agents, with the clients.
And do you limit the types of things that you do property management on? Because like, for example, in my area, it's very hard to find a property management company that wants to do one single family home. They all want to do the big, huge buildings. They all want to do,
Really?
because obviously economies of scale, they're going to make more money if they're handling a 12-unit apartment building over a single family home. And it's, not that much more work. Do you limit yourself to the types of properties that you do property management on?
In theory, and I'm going to tell you what's the good and bad about that. Okay. Whenever you have a client that is that big, you have, it might be less work, but if the one leaves, you're out of business. So I'd rather do one at a time. Remember what I said, it's all about, to me, it's all about a marathon, long term. I've been blessed that I'm pretty techie. I actually went to school for computer programming, so I was able to use tech in my advantage for a long time. And I've also used virtual assistants before people even knew what they were. And we
Right.
went to India. We actually went to India, and we go to India and hire people and training. We go back and forth. And I don't call our team BAs; they're like super BAs. They're our family. That helps us with their payroll, but we're able to provide each client at least 2 or 3 persons to contact, and our turnaround is an hour versus
Wow.
other companies 24 hours. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines and she's kind of amazing. She was a coder before she became a virtual assistant. So she's super techie, which is
Well, I'm telling you, they have better titles than us. They have more
yeah.
education.
Anyway, well, you are fabulous. I really enjoyed this story because I think it's important for people to understand how many times real estate agents have to reinvent themselves in the market that we're in. We're constantly coming upon different sorts of obstacles in the work that we do, and you're a perfect example of an incredibly resilient real estate leader who has found a way through to success even through some very, very difficult times. And I really appreciate your candor with me. Jorge, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they reach you? If they want to buy a fleet of investment properties in Tampa, Florida, how do they get a hold of you?
The beauty is that we're the number one in Tampa, above all of the investment firms and all of the real estate firms. So you can type Tampa Investing, number
It'll
one.
pop right up.
Investing in Tampa, Tampa Investing, we show up number one. Look for Graystone, or you could go directly to graystoneig.com and find us.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for your time today. It means a lot to me that you came on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hopefully I have 1,000 stories that we could.
I love it. I love it. I will have you back as a guest again. You're charming.
Please.
So thank you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Realizations Podcast. I hope our conversation has shed light on the true essence of real estate and the people behind it. As we wrap up, I want to extend my gratitude to our listeners for their support and engagement. Your feedback drives the heart of this podcast, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Realizations Podcast and leaving a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and spread our message of positivity in the real estate industry. Until next time, remember to keep an open mind, embrace empathy, and always seek the good in every situation. I'm Andrea Gordon, signing off from Realizations. See you next time.